welcome to the Press Y podcast, episode 8. We're 8 out of I don't know what to say, but yeah, we're here.
Hey Gunnar, why was 6 afraid of 7?
Because 7 shot Obama. I don't know.
No, because 7, 8, 9, and this is episode 8.
This is episode 8. What's going on, dude? How are you?
I'm good, just thinking about gaming.
Oh, dude, there's so much gaming to go around, just like last week. Yeah, fake
more than
laugh,
enough for everybody.
More than enough for everybody. But yeah, this is the Press Y podcast, the weekly podcast where we talk about gaming news and gaming industry and all that, but pretty much just Nintendo. So this week we got actually quite a few stories, and one big one we're going to talk about towards the end. Really not much of a big story, but it's an interesting discussion. And so this week we're actually going to start with the new Switch update just came out, version 9.0. Patrick, going to tell us all about that?
Sure. So we've got alarms, which, okay, they're kind of weird. They have to be supported in-game. So they're pretty useless right now. I tried to set one up just to kind of poke around with it and see what we could get. Wasn't much. We have friend invites for online play directly on system, which is cool.
Not through an app? What?
The less time we have to spend on that app, the better. So I'm happy about that. Speaking of the app, we have a QR code to log into the fantastic voice chat app, and I love it. I love using the app. So that's cool. There's some touch sensitivity for stylus controls, pretty much just for Mario Maker, I would assume. But it reduces the lag by a significant amount. There are some videos kind of showcasing that. Super interesting that they would put it in now. But, I mean, cool, good. You can search and follow channels in the news channels, so that's neat.
That's cool, but you should be getting your news here at the Press Y podcast. So if you're getting your news on your Switch, you need to take a little life check right there, my friend.
Oh, yeah. And then, finally, a little bit of an update for the Switch Lite. You have the option to turn off console input. So if you press a button on the console itself while the Joy-Con are connected or on the Switch Lite, it won't take that input. It'll only take it from wireless controllers that are separated. So that's if you're using the Switch Lite and you prop it up with a credit card or whatever, because it doesn't have a kickstand, and you don't want the input on. I mean, I guess it's good that it's there. I can't imagine that being a huge issue for anybody, but whatever.
Yeah, and also, like, that hasn't been a problem already with the current, like, handheld mode setup, because, like, if I use a Pro Controller in a handheld mode, or a tabletop mode, I guess, I'll leave my Joy-Cons on it, and it hasn't been much of an issue for me. I think sometimes in games, if they don't program it well, it's not, like, very seamless going from, like, Joy-Cons to propping it up and then using a Pro Controller, but you'd think that they'd make that feature available on both the Switch models instead of just the Lite. But
no, it's on both models.
Okay, it's both.
The update is it's pretty clearly just for the Switch Lite.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha. But yeah, so Switch Update 9.0. Do we have any themes for in this update? No. Do we have folders?
Nope. No, of course not. You idiot. No. Move on. Before I get upset.
Yeah, I don't want to upset Miyamoto Corp.
If you didn't know, if you didn't know there was an update, you wouldn't tell the difference.
Absolutely not. But yeah, so Switch Update, go get it. I'm sure you already have it by now. But other thing I want to talk about is Super Nintendo World is opening next spring at Universal Japan. This is pretty neat. So far, there's 2 confirmed rides. There's a Mario Kart ride, which sounds so much fun. I'm guessing just racing like it's Mario Kart. So, and then I'm sure they'll figure out how to do like items and all that fun stuff. And then there's a Yoshi's Adventure ride. But with both of these rides, they didn't really go into depth, like what the actual rides are. But you can only kind of infer. Pretty cool. Sounds fun. There's what they're doing. It's pretty unique. Is that they have magnetic wristbands that everyone inside the park is supposed to wear, and the wristbands are used to actually interact with the park.
That's not that unique.
But it's cool.
It's cool.
What it does,
but it's not
wait. No, but the unique part about it is it interacts with the park, but it also interacts with supposedly your Switch. And so there's actually a scorekeeping system for various games, and I'm assuming the rides as well, that gets tracked supposedly through this wristband and through your Switch.
Street Pass 2, baby.
Street Pass 2. Well, okay, here's another interesting thing is and this is coming from Polygon. but in the article they don't specify, and I looked this up in other places. They don't specify what they mean by tracking score on a game console. So it could be, it likely is Switch, but I wonder if they're going to throw some kind of 3DS app in there as well that you can use instead of the Switch.
Because
It's
they
like
still
honestly,
support the 3DS.
well yeah, and I don't have a problem with them supporting the 3DS, but I think honestly, like if I was walking around with something, I'd rather be walking around with a 3DS or a 2DS since well, one, you can fold it, and two,
Yeah, you can
like
fold the 2DS. Yeah,
I don't want to get that stolen.
yeah, you
So
can fold the 2DS. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm a gamer.
yeah, well you can.
The
The two
2DS
oh the
XL.
2DS the 2DX XL,
You
you know what I
idiot.
mean.
You've proven to everyone
Not
that
like
you're casual.
no, not like the $70 like tablet 2DS, like the
No, it's
2DS
too
XL.
late. You've already proven you're a casual gamer.
Do you know anyone who owns the the tablet 2DS?
No.
I can't think of.
I usually don't interact with people under 6 years old, so no.
Yeah. But yeah, so cool. And the Super Nintendo World's opening next spring in Universal Japan. No word on when it'll come to America, but I'm sure if it's successful in Japan, it'll probably eventually come to America. So that'd be pretty cool. Oh, I forgot to mention so like the different themed areas of the park. There's like a Bowser's Castle area, a Peach's Castle area, and then just kind of Mario everywhere. So cool. That's fun. I like theme parks
Yeah,
just as much
I think
as
it looks really fun. I think it looks cool.
just as much. It's yeah, I love theme parks. All right, cool. This next thing I'm super excited about, and I'm not gonna let you cover because I really want to cover it. So last week we talked about, I believe, is that last week or the week before? But
It
we
was last
talked
week.
about it was last week. Okay,
Hmm.
we talked about a teaser trailer that Nintendo released where all these people from all across the world, across the universe, were playing with a ring, and that ring had a Joy-Con in it, as well as a leg strap attachment for the Switch. And everyone was like, are we getting Wii Fit Remastered Deluxe Edition for the Wii U? Well, this week we found out through a high quality trailer that screams Switch era ad quality with the cringe quality of Wii U, the Wii U era. It's oh god, it's so hard to watch. But we found out that the product that they're going to be releasing next month actually is it's called Ring Fit Adventure, and it uses the ring. Yeah, I know, great name, right? It uses the ring from that you saw in the original trailer, and essentially you are a yoga pants clad woman running through environments on an adventure to stop an evil dragon that looks like a bodybuilder. And so you run through the environment. It's like on rails. So you just like jog in place or whatever, and then just randomly you'll have turn-based battles with enemies, and the turn-based battles use like action commands, kind of like Mario Luigi or Paper Mario. But instead of pressing buttons, you're getting fit, and you're working out, and you didn't even realize you're working out because you're having so much fun. And so it's an action it's an action RPG fitness game, which is so amazing. And this just looks so much like this high key looks really really fun. Maybe for just an hour, but like it looks really fun, and I definitely want to check out people like streaming the game whenever it comes out because that's gonna be so funny. Let me see what else I wrote down here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Go check out the trailer. It's like a 7 minute long trailer. It's definitely worth a watch. It's pretty cringy, but it's I don't know. It looks like a fun game. Patrick, did you check out the trailer? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it, and it. I mean, it's that classic Wii era. Like we're gonna capture the casual market. But I mean, I'm not gonna get it because I'm not buying a whole peripheral for an hour-long game. But I mean, I don't know. It's the kind of thing that a family would get and have a lot of fun with. So I mean, I think it's fun.
Yeah, and another thing on that is it's actually fairly it's priced fairly well. So I didn't whenever I first saw this, I was like, oh god, it's gonna be pretty expensive. But for the game and the ring bundled together, it's only like $80, which yeah, that's $80. But still, I mean, a normal Switch game is $60. So you're paying $20 for a pretty cool attachment or a controller. What do they call it? Like the ring con or something like that. Another interesting thing about it is that I somehow, and I don't know if there's an attachment on the new controller or what that allows this, but they're able to like measure your heart rate using the IR sensor on the Joy-Con while it's in the ring. So that's God, I don't know how they can't figure all that stuff out, but whatever. I mean, Nintendo's cooking up some interesting stuff as always. But yeah, definitely go check out Ring Fit Adventure. I might I have to admit I had a few thoughts about buying it, but I just can't justify $80 for something like that right now. But what's next, Patrick?
We've just got some fun little comments from our good friend Masahiro Sakurai.
Ooh.
He said that Smash Bros. On the Switch was the last mission Satoru Iwata gave to him. And that's sweet. That's just a nice thing because obviously Iwata was Sakurai's mentor. And seeing how hard Sakurai's worked on Ultimate and how much heart he's put into it, it's nice that it's kind of a capstone on that relationship in a professional sense.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah, and this was at the Game Awards, by the way.
Yeah, and he also reaffirmed that Goku will not be in the game, which is good.
Yeah, he explicitly said that there will be no like non-video game characters in Smash, which I know probably disappoints maybe 5 people, but guys, it's a crossover fighting game for video game characters. It's been pretty explicit about that for the longest time. But yeah, so like it's so interesting seeing like Sakurai kind of be so vulnerable like this, like during an awards show. He even apologized at the beginning of his statement for bringing up that personal story. But it's cool to see again and again how much of a hardworking and passionate guy he is towards his job. I respect that out of really any kind of leader. But yeah, it's good for him. Sticking to that last project to honor Iwata. So let's see what's up next here. Oh, you want to cover this next one? Actually, no, wait, no. I'll give you the one after. I want to talk about this. So GameStop is closing between 180 and 200 stores. And this comes from Engadget.com. Well, kind of to preface this, GameStop has lost about $32 million globally in their second quarter earnings this year. And so one of the moves to combat that is to close some underperforming stores to kind of eliminate, the costs for the business. So, eliminating costs is one thing, but what they're doing is trying to focus on their successful stores. At least this is what's being thought right now, is that they're eliminating the stores that aren't performing well to focus on their top performing stores, as well as mold those stores into the community hubs and the community centers that they want them to be. Well, we've talked about this in a previous podcast because this was in the news a couple months ago, but GameStop does have a new vision for their stores to make them more of a central hub. So like maybe host esports events every now and then to like sell more retro games, places where people will want to come in and check out what's new, all that kind of stuff, rather than just being a very corporate environment. And so, it makes sense, honestly, to cut these underperforming stores, especially in the state that their business is in right now. This honestly, I was thinking about it, and if they're unable to turn the business around within the next few years, with like there's this new strategy that they have regarding like the community center thing, then it's likely going to be the end of GameStop. I know everyone's been saying like, oh, GameStop's doomed, but this really is I'd say their last chance.
I mean, GameStop sucks, so this is a good thing.
Yeah, but the thing is I want to go into Well, I really don't want to go into GameStop, but if I did want to go into GameStop, I'd want it to feel like going in when I was a little kid, being like, oh man, this is so great! Like there's all these games, I get to look at this, I get to look at that. Like this is so much fun.
Well, Gunnar, hasn't anyone told you?
What?
It's impossible to capture childlike magic once you get like over 12.
Oh,
you'll never feel that joy again, Gunnar.
That's not. That's not true.
Don't you understand?
That's not true.
It is.
No, that's not necessarily true. But to capture kind of that nostalgia, and I think that they'd be able to do that with this vision that they have, and obviously that's why one of the reasons they're probably pursuing it is to capitalize on nostalgia. And, a lot of people in GameStop's demographic are growing up, but they're also still playing games, and so if they can capture that, just similar to like how Nintendo releases mini versions of their consoles, and now Sega is even releasing that Genesis Mini, and then we see, was there like an Atari? There's an Atari one I think as well. Like there's so much nostalgia right now, and the revival of classic platformers and all that, which I actually want to talk about later. I think that it's an interesting strategy, and I hope it works out for them. So you want to go on to the next story?
Yeah. So the Contra demo was put on the Japanese eShop, and it looks real bad. And that's about all I have to say about it. It just looks shoddily made. The graphics look terrible. The gameplay looks pretty stupid. It's an unnecessary reboot. Pretty stupid. That's all I have to say.
It looks like you just told someone who's never looked at a computer screen before or even heard of a video game to be like, "Hey, make this work on this." And they spent their entire life working on it, and it comes out and it still looks like dog doo doo. It's
Yeah, it looks pretty bad.
it's pretty embarrassing. It's like, I don't know if I'd put it up there with oh god, what's that game? Oh, Ark Survival Evolved. I'd say that's still probably the most egregious out of all the Switch games that have come out. But it's pretty nasty looking. It's a grimy little boy.
Oh yeah.
It's a oh Patrick, is there some new Pokemon something or other? We absolutely stand Pokemon in this timeline, don't we?
No.
Oh, okay, we're not in that timeline.
No, there's a new Pokemon being teased. Looks like it has like a tail or something. It looks pretty stupid. Feels cheap, like everything else involved with Sword and Shield. And I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to send my blood pressure through the roof.
Fair point. Well, what else is going on, Patrick?
Uh, a lot of small stories. I'm thinking of Rapid Fire.
Pew pew pew. Well, what are we at? 17 minutes? Sure.
Should we? Should we Rapid Fire?
I don't know, dude. That's your decision to make. You're the captain of this ship.
All right, let's do it. Switch, top selling console in August. Boom. That's probably because the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are nearing the end of their life cycle. People aren't picking up as many, but it's good that the Switch still has Steam going. Also, putting out the new model probably didn't hurt those numbers. Boom. Pew pew. Rapid fire. Pew. Pew pew pew. Switch playtime clock limits out at 9,999 hours. Because we know this. Because some maniac spent over that amount of time trying to unlock Luigi playable. Probably. That's what I would assume. Why else would you play Breath of the Wild for 10,000 hours? His name is Aidman, and I want him to just beat me up. Desperately. I want him to just kick the shit out of me. Link's Awakening starting to get some reviews. Obviously, it's a remake of the classic Game Boy title, one of my favorite games of all time. Can't wait to play it. But Weekly Famitsu gave it a 35 out of 40. That's an aggregate of 4 scores. So it's good to see it's getting good scores. The art style was kind of controversial at first, so I was a little concerned, but people seem to have warmed up to it quite a bit. I think it looks fantastic. It's not what I would have picked, but it still looks great. So that wasn't really rapid fire, was it? I just kind of went quickly, but...
Yeah, you just went quickly, but it's okay. I actually want to touch on a few things with Link's Awakening, because I'm actually pretty excited about that.
Go for it, my man.
I will go for it. I'm not super big on Zelda games. I really like Breath of the Wild, and I played Ocarina.
Fake fan.
Yeah,
there is
well,
a fake
yeah.
fan.
I just said I'm not huge on it.
I'm gonna kill
But
you.
I actually have played like about half of Link's Awakening on the eShop or Virtual Console on 3DS, and not really my thing. But I am really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to this for 2 reasons. 1, the art's really good. 2, the music's really good, and then yeah, the gameplay is good too. But I'm really interested to see how they remaster something that's a Game Boy game like this and make it modern. And so that's what interests me, and that's actually what's bringing up my excitement for this game, because I believe it comes out, was it next week or 2 weeks from now?
A week from today.
A week from today. Okay. Yeah. I'm excited about that. I have it pre-ordered and everything. But also just on a technical note, it looks like they've cleaned it up like significantly since E3. So E3, I don't know if you saw, but it was pretty choppy. Just like the frame rate was all over the place. Which
it was also several months before release. Like, it wasn't
right. But still, it's cool to see just how much. And this is why I say it's on a technical note. It's cool to see how much when a studio works with their product, how much they can improve it, both in visually and as well as with frame rate and all that. So I'm really excited for it. It looks like a good game, and I know you're very excited for it.
I'm so excited for it.
He's so excited. All right, so for that big story, that big, fat, juicy, promised story from the
It's not that
beginning,
big.
it's not that big, but it is a interesting discussion. I'd kind of like to hear your thoughts because we really didn't talk about this much before the show started. So Nintendo's suing another ROM site. This is not new, and so they actually sued EMU Paradise. Was it last year or earlier this? I can't remember, but they have sued EMU Paradise in the past, and now they're suing ROM Universe. And ROM Universe actually known for like hosting like current game titles, so you could get like Three Houses and Mario Odyssey and all that kind of stuff on there. And that's a pretty big no-no because that's like actively sold art, actively
It's
sold
illegal. It's what
material.
it is.
Yeah, very, very, very illegal.
Piracy is not a victimless crime. You wouldn't steal a
Yeah,
bike,
that's true.
so why would you steal
But
Super Mario Odyssey?
this is why I wanted to kind of bring this up. So, what are your thoughts on like not for profit? Like I want to emphasize that not for profit ROM sharing of classic games, and I'm going to define classic games as being in the Wii era below, or games that aren't being actively sold digitally or on shelves. What's your opinion on that?
And sorry,
Like, is it questionable? Is that something that's good, or is that something that
for games from like Wii and below, is that okay?
Well, no. Let me clarify. Yes, Wii and below, but any game that's not like actively sold and
Yeah,
actively available,
I mean, at some point, like
no one's being harmed from it.
no
There's
one's
no IP being
there's
harmed.
no IP being harmed, and like sometimes like there are games that you actually like it's impossible to play without emulation. A lot, and we're seeing a lot of it with like NES carts, Super NES carts, like those and Game Boy and GBA, some GBA games at least. They have physical batteries in them in the cartridges, and when those die, the game is done, and eventually all these carts are going to die. And other than super expensive repairs or things, people are going to DIY. It's not going to be feasible to play these games. And I think, if you're going to emulate Super Mario World, like it's ultimately harmless. Like it's, I mean, it's still illegal, but like whatever. I mean, it's sometimes just if you like, it's preservation. That's it, and that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
that's the big thing for me is its preservation. Just like with books or any other kind of form of art, is it's a form of preservation. And actually, a kind of a light I wanted to cast on this is emulation again in the specific sense that I defined it as earlier is similar to I'd say like content creators using games for profit, or not necessarily for profit, but for content. I'm gonna stay there. And so, in the past we've seen Nintendo as well as other companies really crack down on content creators for using footage from their games. Nintendo and other people would claim or like claim the monetization or whatever, but they didn't realize that allowing the content creators to grow and to show off this content actually brought more people to those products. And I think in a very similar way, emulation of older titles and titles that are unavailable to the masses. So like, I'm not gonna give an example off the top of my head, but this allows people to gain interest in those series, gain interest in those IPs, and ultimately buy into current products, which sell for more. And because Nintendo's actually selling them, not someone on eBay selling them for $100 when it came out in 2000. So I think that it's actually a good thing to a degree, again, to the degree that I specified, because if you're sharing ROMs of like Mario Odyssey and they're not your own legal backups and well, you're sharing them in the first place, then that's very wrong. You're very much hurting an IP. Whereas, playing the original whatever that isn't available anymore, you're actually helping the IP. So that's my perspective on it. And I think it's one of those issues that sits pretty firmly in that gray area, and it can really go either way depending on what the specific issue within that issue is. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts. Do you have any more thoughts?
I mean, no, I think another big problem, like with what I mean, you're saying like, and I was saying it earlier, but preservation of old games and being able to play them when they're not immediately available. I mean, like Virtual Console on the Wii U is still going, Virtual Console on the 3DS is still going. Like Nintendo is still selling a lot of these SNES, N64 era games. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world if you're emulating it, but like I understand from a business perspective why they would want to shut these down, even when it's games that they're not selling physically anymore, because they're still making money off Link to the Past. They're still making money off Super Metroid. People are buying
But
it.
that doesn't fall within the metric that I put out.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
your metric is also just something that you came up with.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I'm saying what I believe where I believe emulation is okay. It was when it falls within those guidelines. But yeah, and that's one of the things I really love that Nintendo's doing, or at least did, and sort of doing now with the Super Nintendo Online as well as the Super NES Online, is making sure that their older titles stay relevant, because in many ways they are still relevant. And so, and then they're monetizing it directly, and I think that's great that they're doing that and that they're preserving history in that sense. But also, it's not like they're going to preserve every single NES title or every single Super Nintendo title, and a lot of that's going to get lost with time or die out because the battery's dead. So, but yeah, I just think that that's a really interesting discussion to have, because it really, like, you see so many different opinions on that issue, but it's kind of my thoughts. But you wanna do some press and why? What are we at? 27 minutes. Ooh, we're making some headway today.
You know what? We sure are. And
What do you?
let's press Y.
Let's press that Y button. What are you pressing Y for this week, Patrick?
I'm gonna press Y for the music.
Don't say Astral Chain.
I'm not going to.
Not say
I'm not going to.
Okay.
For the music in Yoshi's Island.
Oh my god.
Because I've played it before, but playing it on the Switch and that music coming from my TV, oh my god, Obstacle Course makes my heart just sink from how heavy it's become with joy. It's good.
You should have said Flutter. That would have been more appropriate.
Oh, you're right. Damn it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just kind of sitting over here with the big brain.
It's okay. But yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of a stupid small one, but like, geez, I've been thinking about it a lot. Like, just walking around, like, humming it, whistling it. I mean, it's good. And I'm not going to apologize for it.
You're the real talk of the town, aren't you?
I'm sure I am. It doesn't help that I've been wearing a Yoshi costume to class.
But I will say there's some bangers in Yoshi's Island, so I don't blame you.
I know.
Yeah, but my favorite game music still probably Mario Galaxy. I've been listening. Yeah, I've been listening to what is it? Like when I'll study, I'll put like Xenoblade music on because it's like so freaking chill.
Yeah,
it's so chill. Yoshi's Island, I love that dude. God, what was I pressing Y for? Now I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I sent you this earlier.
Astral Chain.
An Astral Chain, baby. No. No, loot boxes.
Microtransactions.
Microtransactions, but in an ethical way. No, I'm actually pressing Y for a couple things, and that first one being Keanu Reeves. So Keanu Reeves is in Cyberpunk 2077, also in The Matrix, also in John Wick, but he's in Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm really excited about that. He's actually one of my favorite actors because of John Wick. I just absolutely love that series. But the Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter account posted a picture of him on one of like the motorcycles or whatever from the game today. Like not in game, but like in real life at an expo. And it's really cool. Keanu Reeves, I did some research. He's actually a really big motorcycle buff. So I'm sure he was right at home on whatever that Tron looking motorcycle was. But yeah, so that's one of the things I'm pressing Y for, because that's a short one. But I also wanted to throw in there, what was it? Oh my God, I can't remember.
Well, that's good because we only press Y for one thing every week.
No. It was a small thing. I remember because I mentioned this earlier in the show. Is the revival of like classic platformers and like mascot character kind of stuff. So big notable ones being Crash. You have the Insane Trilogy. You like it. I really like it as well. I played on PC. And then Spyro. I haven't played Spyro yet. I'm looking to pick that up here soon. I actually never played that on PS1, but I really want to try it. But seeing those two characters get revived as well as Banjo-Kazooie in a sense with Smash Brothers becoming relevant again.
Bubsy.
You know, Bubsy with what was that new one that came out?
Bubsy 2, The Nightmare Prince.
No, but yeah, there was that trashy PS4 game that came out. It's cool to see. It's cool to see like all these old characters again hitting on the nostalgia of people who are, growing up now but play these games as kids, and reimagining it and trying to capture that feel of what it was like playing it when you were a kid. So it's cool to see mascot platformers kind of come back, and it makes me really, really hope for a potential Banjo-Kazooie remake or sequel. But it's kind of hard to top the first game. I liked Tui a bit more. I got more invested in that. I think Kazooie's a better game, but Tui I got more invested in. And I'd love to see those remastered. We have the Xbox Live versions, which are really good, but I guess Rare Replay now. I played it on the 360, but I think that it'd be really cool to see that remastered. I think now's the time. So, but yeah, those are the couple things I'm pressing Y for. Sorry, I broke the rule this week, but well, what are you gonna do?
Don't worry,
things are a little different in this timeline.
I'll kiss you real good for that one.
I don't want you to do that, Pat.
And then I won't.
All right. Okay, cool. You have any final thoughts?
Never. I never once have.
Well, then tell them what they're supposed to be doing after they, or I guess while they're watching this episode. What are they supposed to be doing?
No, I would prefer if you did it.
But fine. Okay, fine. Well, y'all better be liking this video, subscribing to this channel, freaking commenting down below. There's some little juicy lore bits from last week if you didn't catch it. So if you're trying to stay up on that, we're not here to hold your hand, but this is a freebie, so go and check it out.
Comment hashtag SGang to prove you're not a virgin. The S stands for sex.
Yeah, I actually like that.
But no lying.
Yeah. So we'll start putting that hashtag alongside our tweets, which, speaking of tweets, follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/PressYmedia, as well as, let's see, like, subscribe, comment. What's the other one? Oh,
sure.
Can't forget about that ding-a-ling-a-ling, the little bell.
Oh, baby.
Click on that bell.
Groovy.
Yeah, groovy little bell. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Again, catch us next week on Press Y Podcast, 8:30 every Sunday. Good morning. All right, we'll catch y'all next week. Bye.